we just wanted to say a massive thank you to our podcast sponsor, Kevin Murphy, distributed by Ozday, and thank them for being the most amazing brand partner for Salon Rising. This brand is truly incredible and we are so excited to work alongside you.
Hey lovers, on this episode you get to meet us, the Salon Rising team, the three of us, because there are three, even though Richard likes to hide in the background. So we thought it was a really important episode for you to get to know the Salon Rising fam and just to get a little bit more background on what we do and who we are. Hope you enjoy. Welcome everybody to Salon Rising Podcast. An exciting episode today.
Oh, I'm
Richard?
so excited for this episode. Our first boy on the podcast.
Yeah.
Had to be me.
Had to be
Well,
Richard.
it did. It did have to be you.
So,
It's kind of an important podcast today.
without further ado, this is my big brother,
It's me.
my business partner, one of the three amigos
Yeah.
in our business. And he's been fighting against this for so long because he's like, I do not need to be on the podcast. But the reason why
But he really does need to be on the podcast.
he does. The reason why this podcast exists is because of Richard.
Yeah.
Behind the scenes. Someone's got to do the behind the scenes stuff, and I'm happy to be that person.
Yeah.
I'll see
So if
how
we could
far
just
I can-
end it here. And
And that was the podcast for today,
I'll
guys.
see how far I can get through the podcast and say as little as possible.
I can generally talk for you, so we'll be sweet.
yeah.
That's what I've learned over the years. Let Samara shine, and then we're good.
So
Yeah.
we
The
wanted...
the Beyonce of the group.
I'll definitely tell that story in a minute. But
Yeah.
We think it's important because obviously there is three of us to Salon Rising.
Yeah.
Me, Jen and Rich. And obviously you see Jen and I all the time. But Rich is all out behind the scenes. And this is what makes this business so incredibly functional and successful. And everything that we can do is because of the three of us. It's not just me doing what I do behind the scenes. And I think it's important that people know the different areas of my business because it benefits them so amazingly with what you guys do for Salon Rising. And Salon Rising honestly would be so dodgy if it wasn't the three of us. It would never be named because Jen named it. And we'd just have phone calls and I'd probably charge you $100 for it. So it probably would have been worth it for you. But, you know,
can blame me.
it wouldn't be as incredible as it is if it didn't have the people in it that support me just doing the mentoring behind the scenes. So, you know, I'm very, very lucky that this is the case. So we wanted to get Rich on because we think it's really important for him,
Yeah.
for you guys to know his role and even talking a bit more to Jen's role too, because obviously you are my podcast boo.
I would love to know what you think our roles are.
that would be excellent.
I would love to know what you think that we actually do.
Okay.
Go.
They manage me.
Pretty much. Pretty much.
So, okay, the roles that I see from me. So I obviously mentor and then come up with crazy ideas and just spout them out and hope they come to life.
Yeah.
Jen and Rich's role. So Rich's role is more technical.
Technical.
He does all the setting up of things and then he does all the behind the scenes. He built our website and he does all of the planning. He's a very good planner and he organizes the schedules. He's very good at schedules, but he also builds everything as well. Like it's incredible what Rich can do. He teaches himself how to do everything and it's pretty mind blowing. Am I right on that?
Pretty close.
And he
Yeah.
develops everything with Jen from my crazy ideas that come out of my head. Jen, on the other hand, does a lot of the creating. So Jen creates all of our workbooks. She creates all of our content. She watches my face for hours on end and
I
takes
really do.
what I'm saying and creates the content with it. She does a lot of our marketing materials. So Rich will put everything together, but Jen creates it all. So any of the workbooks that you guys have seen that are so beautiful are the brainchild of Rich and Jen and then just my knowledge in it of how I run a class. But the coolest thing for me is they do all that behind. I don't have to do any of that. Jen watches all my content and takes it from that. So it allows me to have all the time that I have mentoring and being with you guys because these guys do it so seamlessly behind the scenes. They manage me. So Jen knows Richard and I, this is something that we do a lot of and trying to create more of in our business is we are all very different human designs. So
Hugely.
I am a projector, Jen is a manifester, and Rich is a generator. So the way we work is very different, and Jen is very, very good being a manifester at knowing what Rich and I need because Rich and I don't speak each other's language. Rich is a generator, so a generator can keep moving. They develop things and then they don't understand. Like they can just keep moving. Like I need this done, so do it. But I don't work
They're
like
the
that.
batteries. They're the life force of the world.
I don't work like that in the slightest. You know,
No.
I work when I'm passionate and I'm excited. So Rich will be like, we need this program built, and I will just ignore him until one day I feel passionate and I've written 3 programs in a day.
That's definitely how when it first started. I remember, so we've been doing this for almost 18 months now, 14 months. And definitely at the start, it was, okay, let's do this, this, and this. And you went, no.
No.
Not doing that. I don't feel up to it. And then
I
2
don't
days
want
later,
to.
I've done all these things. And then I think it's like the longer you work with someone, obviously this is the first time we've worked together.
Yeah.
We've been brother and sister forever.
Since the day you were
It's a day-
born.
I'm 7 years, almost 8 years older. And the relationship we have now is so much stronger than it was when we were growing up, because there is an age gap.
Hold on. We got to go into this story in a second.
Oh, yeah, too. I'm going ahead of the game.
But yes, okay, we'll go into that in a minute.
go into that.
But we definitely work differently. So I think that's important, is to know, because our story, you know, it's not just brother and sister. But yeah, did I get your roles right?
Pretty close.
Is that what you do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also Jen manages, like, so when Rich and I have that disconnection of like, Jen knows how to bring us all together and we function incredibly well as a team. And Rich and Jen speak more than I speak to either of them, because
Yes.
they are creating
Totally.
everything behind the scenes. So I am very much like, I've got this, I want it done now. And these guys like, no, it's not.
Yeah.
Like, no, we can't do it. Or they let me do stuff when it needs to. But
Yeah.
they keep me back because I think of an idea and I want it done tomorrow, but then it doesn't get executed how it should be. And these guys can do that brilliant work. They also do incredible things for our clients behind the scenes. So if our clients need certain things, again, Jen is the most brilliant writer. She's so creative. She's helped our clients with stuff. Rich helps our clients with all the technical stuff. So it's, you know, and anything they need, it's email and, you know, so everybody, they're both accessible at each point. So did I get your roles right? Yes.
Pretty close.
Yeah.
Everything behind the scenes, making sure that shit gets done.
See, told you. I do know what you
Totally
do.
get shit done.
And
They get shit done.
get shit done. And the last probably 6 months or so, Jen and I have forged a really strong relationship. We speak hours every day at times. And it's what I wanted from someone that I couldn't get from you. Because I remember right at the start, we'd have these long conversations and I'd want to go, let's do this planning, let's schedule this. And you're going, whoa, I don't want to know anything. whereas Jen is the person that we are on the same wavelength. So let's build this email, let's do this website, let's do this program, and we can understand each other. And then we can basically go, hey, Sam, look what we've done. So it works really well like that.
I remember doing that one day. You were like, we've scheduled breakfast. And they were like, this is pretty much how we're going to manage you. Wonderful.
Yeah. It's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Who put the blue M&Ms in the jar?
Yeah.
She doesn't eat the blue M&Ms.
It honestly is like that. Right?
And that also, like, Jen is like, Richard's obviously my brother, and Jen and I have been best friends for 20 years and we've worked together. So Jen knows me better than I know myself. So she knows how to run my life pretty much, and she knows when I'm tapped out but you know, knows how to manage me. So if Richard's not like, I don't know what's happening with her, Jen generally knows.
Yeah.
It's a good mix. I've said this story to loads of people. Samara's like my Beyonce.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I need to make sure that everything's perfect, that she turns up on
She's got
stage
the
at the right
sparkling
time.
water. Yeah.
And she, you know, does her magic. But if something's not right, I need to make sure it's right. So that, I guess that's how I view the relationship. She's my Beyonce and she makes the magic happen, but the magic doesn't happen unless I'm here to make sure it's in the right
Beyonce has
place.
a whole team.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
So we are Beyonce's
And we honestly
team.
couldn't do it. I wouldn't be doing it because I can't manage. You know, people say, how do I do what I do? How do I run? I don't do it on my own. It's like with an entire team at home and in my businesses. La Sorella is run by an incredible group of humans inside the business, but I also have an amazing accountant and I have an incredible business banker.
Yeah.
So it's run that way. Salon Rising is the same. Like, I don't do this on my own. I have, like, these guys are the reason why I can do this business, and I can just jump in and mentor and love and then jump out because I've got the kids. And, you know, we were saying on the last podcast, the boundaries we've also put in place because, you know, for the three of us, it's really important that our lives are important. And Rich knows how much I still need to be with the kids and also how much I still need to be in La Sorella and respects that as well.
Yep.
So, everything's developed within boundaries for all of us. So everyone always feels really comfortable.
Look, Rich and I are still working on our boundaries. Like we were just saying before that it's like, I decided not to work this weekend. He's like, I decided not to work this weekend too. Like look at us like putting a boundary in and not working this weekend.
The sun is out and we're at the beach, so
Yeah.
like I can't complain.
But then I guess because it is our business, like last weekend I wrote 3 programs and sent it to you guys.
Yeah.
I think because it is our businesses and then it gets exciting that we just kind of can move through things and be like, oh, but I want to work on that or I've listened to that.
Yeah.
We're a lot, as a company, we're a lot about self-development as well. So for all of us doing that all the time. All right, I have spoken a lot. Richard, do you want to, from your point of view, I guess, tell everyone a little bit of a backstory?
Sure. I am the
36 years ago,
oldest,
you met me and your life changed forever.
and my life changed forever. Not really, but
Really? I'm the best baby sister they could ever ask
I'm
for.
the big bro of the family, and we have lots of brothers and sisters. I guess my journey has been, grew up on the Gold Coast. Obviously, you guys know that we lived on the Gold Coast. I went to uni at Griffith Uni on the Gold Coast, and then had a period of a few years where I sort of just cruised through life, didn't really have any direction. And then decided to move to the UK. Moved to London in 2008. Lived in London for 13 years. And it was like, I thought I was going to go for 2 years, ended up being 13 years. Met my now wife. We were together. We've been together almost, the whole time, 13, 14 years. Had kids, bought a flat, and had an amazing time in London and grew as a person infinitely. Like the type of person I am now is light years ahead. Completely different of when I was growing up. And travel does that, right? Living overseas does that. It broadens your horizons and it turns you into a different person, a better person, I feel.
I feel though also in that, because you came home every year at least.
For a holiday, yep.
But I felt you had massive growth moments when you came home too.
Yeah, definitely. It was a huge moment meeting Sarah, my wife, my lovely wife, and we've gone through such a journey together. And even in the period between meeting Sarah, buying a flat, having kids, like all of that period, like there was growth moments in all of that. And I think it's just you grow up as a person and you grow up as an individual and you learn new things and you have a different perspective, and then COVID happens and then, kids happen. Kids change your life immeasurably. It did for me.
Yeah.
I always wanted kids, and I've got 2 lovely boys now and they're amazing. But that changes you as a person. It's like it sort of makes you think bigger than just insular and yourself.
I think also everything becomes more important.
Yeah, definitely.
Your health becomes more important.
Yeah,
You as a
100%.
person become more important because you've got 2 little humans that rely on you and you don't ever want to leave. So everything just becomes a little bit more important.
As we've all spoken about, like the fear becomes bigger as well.
Yeah, it does.
Like
Definitely
that
does.
level of feeling anxious about things because you've got these people that you're like growing.
Yes.
Responsible for their well-being, and you just want to do the best by them, and that can be really full on.
Agreed.
Totally. So it's been like I said, I'm a very different person now than I was even 3 or 4 years ago. So then lived in London 13 years. We moved back just after COVID pretty much. So we landed in Brisbane, went through the last hotel quarantine. Spent 2 weeks in a hotel with the boys, which was fun.
You were really lucky. How many people were on your airplane when you came home?
There was one. I think there was one other person on a whole Boeing. It was just us, which is awesome.
Oh my gosh.
How was that experience?
We just sort of relaxed.
One other person.
One other person on the whole plane.
That's
And we had
nuts.
a whole full, everyone was, we had our own personal flight attendant to each person. So that was an experience. We landed in Brisbane, did hotel quarantine. Luckily had a decent experience in hotel quarantine. It wasn't as bad as a lot of people experienced. So that was lucky. Yeah, and then Sam and I moved in together. Well, basically we moved into Sam whilst we were looking for a place to live. Sam and I moved in together and with the kids and both families in the one house, and we had a crazy 2 or 3 months, I think.
Yeah. It was 3 months, I think.
And it was just a really amazing time to get closer as families, because obviously our kids and my kids and Sam's kids had a relationship, but relationship by holidays. And you'd see them once a year, for 2 weeks, every once a year. So they got to form a relationship, and they've got a really nice little relationship now. And
even for the kids getting to know aunties and uncles,
Totally.
and everything just became normal for them.
It's
Our
just the
families,
village expanding again.
yeah.
absolutely.
In a more permanent, like they
And
know that
you'd
people are there.
always planned to be home, so it was like the planning and the planning and the planning. And I remember you coming home it would have been the one before you came home. We were talking about, visualizing and manifesting what home looks like.
Yeah, big time.
And you went and did that.
So we went, there was one year, a couple of years before we came back, that I went and saw Belle. We've spoken about Belle on the podcast quite a bit, and we've had her on. And that sort of opened my eyes to the idea of manifesting. And
I feel like our relationship got really close. Got closer around that time, yeah.
You have to, I feel like with having those discussions, you have to be ready. In your own mind, you have to be ready for that situation. Otherwise, it's pointless, right?
Yeah.
I was ready. Had an amazing, I think Belle and I spoke for about 6 hours one day. It was just the time disappeared.
Yeah.
Went home, went back to London, and then we manifested our trip to Australia. So basically had the white paper out. What do we want out of it? We want to live near the beach. We want to see palm trees. We want to, wrote everything down. And
the emotion side of it, not just like we want to.
What does it smell like? What does it sound like?
Yeah.
What do you look like? What do your weekends do? So we wrote this all down on a piece of paper, and that was maybe
because I think I had it written up in my house, and you were like, "I'm going to do this."
Yeah, exactly. It was just that we were ready to make that move, and it's funny. We looked at it when we came back, and it's scary how close it is.
Yeah.
So we moved to northern New South Wales, and it's paradise. I say it's paradise all the time. It's an amazing place to live. And we decided, so basically looking back on that manifest sheet, and everything was the same. We can see palm trees from our bedroom. It was sunny. We could smell the sea. We can hear the sea. And it just worked. And I think the reason why it worked for me and for us is that every decision we made for that period was based on that vision, the vision, and where the outlook and where we're going to go to. Every single person I spoke to for 2 years, I told them about my vision, and it just came to fruition because that was every decision we made came to that. So then we lived with Sam, moved, and then December a few years back, we moved, and then we've been there ever since.
I think another cool thing that Rich won't say, but I'm going to say it because I think it's really powerful. There's so many women that listen to this podcast, and one of the things I love so much about my brother is he was the stay-at-home dad with both my nephews.
Yeah.
So my sister-in-law is incredibly successful. She is like a co-owner in a very, very incredible activewear label called LNDR. Represent.
Totally.
Yeah.
And she is a powerhouse and was building that. So, she was incredible, had the boys, did maternity leave, but then was really happy to go back to work. She loves her job, and Rich wanted to be a stay-at-home dad.
It's funny. It's one of those things I always wanted to do.
Yeah.
Even from when I was young, I always knew I wanted kids because I loved children, and I loved that experience. So then when Sarah and I got together, she initially didn't want kids. I remember.
Didn't she?
No. To be honest, she was 22 when we got together.
Yeah.
And she was still a baby, really, in the grand scheme of things.
True.
I'm 9 years older than her. So it was a journey, but then, obviously we've got two beautiful boys now. And
when you came to Australia,
yes,
when you guys moved, you were actually stay-at-home dad for
correct.
Rio.
Stay-at-home dad.
Yeah.
Always wanted to be a stay-at-home dad. And then the job I was working in the UK did shared paternity. So it was a no-brainer. Sarah took 3 months off. The 3 really crap months in the UK, like December, January, February. It was miserable, it was raining, and then I had from March until September with my eldest Oz, and it was just amazing. It was a beautiful summertime, and I just had that amazing experience with him. Mum went off to work, and Oz and I just went and did stuff and went to the coffee shop basically and had banana bread and lattes for 6 months. And we'd go and meet people for lunch and meet Sarah for Friday lunch. And it was
He had an Instagram page called Stay at Home Papa.
I still have it. I don't really go on it anymore. But try to document that, one photo a day for 6 months. It was a really amazing experience. And then when Rio came, I did a very similar thing, but that was so Rio was born December 19, and then COVID obviously kicked off in March, and we're living in London, and like my paternity leave started pretty much when COVID kicked off in the UK. Sarah went back to work, and then we decided to basically pack up and move to Australia for 5 months in the peak COVID, because I didn't need to work. Sarah and Joe, her boss, they were going to move back to Australia for a period of time too. So we just said, stuff it, let's fly back to Australia. So luckily we got out of the really bad COVID time in London when they were locked in their houses for 3 or 4 months, and spent it in Australia, which was awesome.
Living the best life.
So I wasn't working. I was just looking after the kids. Sarah was working. So, so I did 2 amazing 6 months, 6 months at a time. And then we finished when we finished work in 2021 before we moved here. And then I basically had all that time off when we moved. So Sarah had some time off when we went to see her family in Canada. And then I basically had the time off with the boys until Oz started school.
Yeah.
And then didn't have a job. And I'm thinking, now what I'm going to do? So
we had a lot of those discussions while you were living at my house. Like, what are you going to do? What do you want to be?
So many. And I always knew that I wanted something that allowed me to be flexible. I'd done 13, 14 years of corporate world and stressful times and, 40, 50-hour week, 60-hour weeks. And I knew that I was done with that. So I wanted to find something that allowed me to be flexible, to be present with my kids, to be present as a dad, and also to not lose the stay-at-home dad type feel that I really enjoy. So then I started up my own little marketing agency with a couple of clients. And this is how we started. So I went down one weekend. We were talking about marketing. And I was saying that I don't do any marketing for my business.
Oh, this is right. I remember this now.
I'm still pretty terrible. So Rich started going like, do you do this? Do you do this? What do you do with this? Blah, blah, blah. I was pregnant at this point.
Yep, with 7 months, 8 months pregnant, 6 months pregnant.
Yeah, when I came, so the day they arrived into Australia, we were away on a caravan trip.
Oh, yeah.
No one knew I was pregnant. We kept it a secret. And then when we got back, the day we got back, they were living in our house, I think, for like 2 weeks.
Yep.
And the day we got back, I was 15 weeks pregnant.
Yeah.
So they just came downstairs and I had this big belly, which was super exciting because we had never experienced a pregnancy together. One of the cool things about our family, and Richard and I are super connected, is Richard and my eldest daughter share the same birthday.
Yep.
So Richard, for her very first birthday, flew over and surprised us the day of her birthday. Like they just showed up at my house, they flew
awesome.
all night, surprised us. I will never forget that moment as long as I live, of them showing up to my door and knocking on the door. And then my whole family went out for the day and we kept surprising everyone. It was just so cool. And then Richard's eldest and my youngest, my middle child, Sadie, and Richard's eldest, Oz, were born one day apart.
Yep.
So Richard's wife we were due a month apart. She was in London and I was here, and she went late and I went early because I had a Caesar, and they were born one day apart.
We still remember when you called us from the delivery room saying, come on, you got like 6 hours, you better hurry up. That's the same birthday.
But it's really cool because he has his own birthday because they were one day apart.
Yeah.
So we call Oz and Sadie the twins. And it was just, it's just interesting how life happens like that. It just kept connecting us, honestly, in different ways, which is really, really cool. They love, Alba and Rich love that they're birthday buddies.
Totally. It's soon as well.
So, yes, soon.
FYI.
Just
so that everyone
knows my
remembers.
birthday soon.
FYI.
This episode will go out literally just before that date. So send Richard, stay at home, Papa love. This episode is brought to you by Kevin Murphy, distributed by Ozdare. Kevin Murphy's high-performing, naturally gorgeous products are the perfect blend of fashion, performance, and environmental genius. This award-winning brand treats hair care like skincare, using naturally beneficial ingredients harvested from the Australian outback. Kevin Murphy's conscious colour brand was born from fashion and driven by performance. I was lucky enough 2 years ago when I opened my beautiful new space. I wanted a brand that fit in with that perfectly, and Kevin Murphy was it for me. Kevin Murphy also performs in such a beautiful way, and I have clients that are obsessed with everything they're using. A brand for me was really important to have a nice big range where I could tailor to my clients exactly what they needed, and Kevin Murphy keeps performing constantly for me. I am so excited that I get to work with Ozdare and Kevin Murphy, and I am so excited to take you on this journey with us. So we were talking about that day, and you started to get really excited, and then I remember you ringing me saying like, I think I'm going to start my own marketing company.
Yep.
And you had like a few clients that you could work with, and we were doing it. But at that point I was pregnant, and nothing gets done when I'm pregnant. And Richard hadn't experienced a pregnancy with me. So he kept saying like, let's do this. I want to do all these things. No, shut down. So I had to try and work with what I had.
We did some things though.
Yeah, we did some things.
We got some things done.
We built a new website.
We got a website
did a few
done.
emails and that was fine. It allowed me to it allowed me to start that little side venture as something that could potentially grow into something.
Yeah.
So
I remember Richard, and he remember him sitting down at a coffee shop and we sat down and he gave me the whole presentation. And I was like, I'm so proud of you. This is amazing. Like when Rich sinks his teeth into something, it is not done half-assed. Like it's a full presentation. It was amazing.
So it was as you know, when you start anything, it's always good to have your first client. So Sam was my first client, locked it in, paid her first bill. So yes, that was good. And then grew from there, had a few clients from there. And, I did that for about 3 or 4 months, 5 months. And it was fun. It was like I was learning every day. If someone wanted to build a different website, do an SEO campaign, do an email campaign, a lot of this stuff I'd done little bits and pieces of, but I just figured it out as I went. Similar to a lot of the stuff we do now, like let's do this thing. I don't know how to do it, but I'll figure it out. YouTube's always your best friend, right? So I did that for 3 or 4 months, and then the Salon Rising stuff sort of happened organically from there. And Sam and I had been talking obviously about Lacerella stuff, and then the mentoring stuff was always a discussion that came up, and she was interested. And I know that you'd been doing mentoring at periods. For the years before, and you were already starting to work with people like Sherelle, and it was something that I knew you were good at. I knew you had a real talent for. So is there a way we could turn this into a business for you, basically?
Yeah. So I remember us having conversation. So Wilder was born, and he was maybe
and then everything
8 weeks
changed.
old.
Yeah.
And Rich saw,
and that's when the fire
shit, this is
starts.
what happens when she has a baby. And Richard's like, oh my God, he's just little. And I'm like, ideas. And I said to Rich, this is what I want to do. I want to do this and I want to do that. And I want to create this. And, I want it to be a business. And we just kept, we were super excited about it. I was like, I need a website and blah, blah, blah. And we kept having all these discussions. And then I remember saying to Rich, like, I've got to pay you for this, dude. And he was like, you know what? I've been thinking about this and I want in. And I was like, what? And he was like, I want to be a part of this business. I want to build this business with you. I want to do it together. And I was like, yes, like that makes so much sense. So we had no idea how it was going to work in the beginning. And we just kind of were like, okay, let's do it. And
Let's figure it out.
I remember, like whiteboarding stuff, like what is this going to look like? What does it look like? What are we doing? And, we say there's that photo on Salon Rising where Rich and I are signing things and, in bed. And I was in my pajamas and Wilder was so little but it just all made sense. And Rich could see that passion that I had for it. And then we just started doing things. And then the funniest thing about that was Jen was exiting from Lacerella. She'd told me for about 25 years before she did leave that she was exiting. And, even with her, we were trying to manifest the right role for her because Jen was like, I need something like this is what I want to be doing and I want to be creative and I want to build something and all of those things. Like she kept saying like, I want, and then all of a sudden I remember saying to Rich, like, it's Jen. Jen's the person that we need in this. Yeah. She can do this and this and this and this and this. And then I remember saying to you, like, we're building this business. I think this is where you should be. And it was at that point, I had no idea what any of it looked like. I had no idea that this would go like this. And, it just, you are the most perfect person that could ever exist for this. But it was just like the universe was like, here, you just need to be in this bit. Like I knew I never wanted to not be with you in my business and I never wanted to not do life and build life with you. But it wasn't meant to be in Lacerella anymore. It was meant to be in Salon Rising.
Yeah.
A bit like it's the, timing and the universe and all this sort of timing. The timing was impeccable because if Jen had left a year ago, you probably would have had something else going and we could do this. And I guarantee we wouldn't be in this position if Jen wasn't here.
Agreed.
I can't build stuff with it's like the one and two, the two amigos making stuff happen behind the scenes.
Agreed.
It's like really important.
Agreed.
And we are on the same wavelength so that we can.
Am I Alvin and you're the Chickmunks?
Maybe.
But I completely there's no and it just.
Oh, but you know what that means? Rich is the one with the glasses. I'm the little fat one.
Theodore. And the funny thing is Jen, if you read things with Jen and I, we always refer to ourselves as Hamish and Andy.
Yeah.
Because I always have, all my girlfriends have a name. Like my best friend Trace is my wife. My other girlfriend is my bestie. And Jen's like, I don't have a name. What's my name? And then one day she came to me, she's like, got it. And I was like, what? And she was like, we're Hamish and Andy.
Yeah, you're Hamish. I'm Andy.
She's like, you're the big over the top personality, but it just doesn't work without Andy.
Yeah.
So now we call each other Hamish and Andy. But it really is a business that needs all three of us. And I understand why this works so well because, I couldn't do what I do without you guys because it just works beautifully. Wilder was
5 minutes
so
old.
little, 5 minutes old. And then, I remember saying to you, like, I think that this is with Jen as well. And then we started pulling Jen into stuff and then it just became more. The business
Because Rich
kind
and
of
I had
grew.
already been doing stuff together anyway because we did the La Sorella website.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Rich, I remember you saying like, I need that person. And then as I said to him, it's Jen, just like you need to get to know her. You'll be obsessed.
100%.
And then, Rich was obsessed.
It's really hard to start anything by yourself, right? But we obviously were doing it together, but your personality, my personality just don't we can't work like that.
Yes.
Like Jen and I can work, right?
Yeah.
There are moments when we vibe and everything's amazing, but to do all the planning and strategy and like the behind the scenes
I'm
stuff.
snoring.
Exactly. I've already lost you, right? So
Rich comes to me with this stuff and I'm like,
speak to Jen.
yeah.
So we basically do that now. Like there's a lot of stuff that we've done that you don't even know about yet.
No,
Yeah.
And I get I am definitely when I'm in flow, like, and Rich is like, I'll just get a message from them like, you're on fire. And
Yeah.
it has to be when I'm in flow. And this business has been so beautiful as all of us have gone through different things and different life changes. It's like the universe has supported us completely in the ebbs and flows and it's kind of given us time where it's quiet and we expected this time of year to be quiet and it's gangbusters at the moment. But it's just been so beautiful. We are obviously working alongside Ozdare at the moment, which has been the most beautiful partnership for us and something that we're going to talk into. But, even Rich develops things behind the scenes and then we've had meetings with them and it's just been like, I would just show up and be like,
Hey.
do you want to work together? And Richard's got this like incredible presentation sorted. And we flew down to Melbourne. We were lucky enough to fly down and spend time with Tanya, my rep and one of my very close girlfriends who is coming on the pod because she is magnificent. And on the plane, Richard's like, he was like, oh, we need some time when we get to the hotel because I need to speak you through the presentation. And I was like, yeah, cool, no worries. And Tanya's sitting there. Tanya's like, let's just do it now. Like, present it to me as well. And I was like,
You went to sleep, didn't you?
no. I was like, this is amazing. Like, I was like, I like how you've worded that. And I was like, some of the stuff I didn't even know. And I was like, what happens with that, Rich? Like, I was literally learning our business as we did it. And it was
normally the way.
It was so cool. And I was like, this was so good. Like, I was like, I could sit through this again. Let's go. So even when, we got there, everything was just so professional and so good. So for me, that's so important within Salon Rising because it's not me. Like, I'm just like, show up, do my thing, make magic happen, and then I just walk away. Even tomorrow is a perfect example. I have an event that I'm speaking at and Richard's organised all the flyers, had them all printed. Jen would have written it.
Yeah.
And then, and then Richard's organising, picking them up and dropping them back here so then I can take them because it's, it doesn't work just with one person because it needs other people to have their flavour on it. And I think that's why Salon Rising is so special.
Yeah.
Jen named Salon Rising, so I think
I did.
But it's been very cool for me. Obviously, Richard spoke about we're siblings, but we are 7.5 years apart. And up until this point, we didn't really have, up until probably 2 years ago. 2 years you've been home?
Yeah, 2 years, yeah.
2 years ago, we probably spoke to each other like twice a year.
And it would normally be, hey, how you going? Yeah, good. See ya.
Happy birthday, bye.
Yeah,
have a
pretty
great
much.
day, love you.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah. Until you, unless you were home. And obviously when you were home, we would talk.
We were just in different worlds at that point in time.
Yeah, different worlds.
For that whole time of me being in London and even before that. But we did live together. Remember when we lived together for like 6 months?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember when you lived together.
But we were
randomly.
just different people. We had
Completely different
That's
people.
because Richard didn't come out of his bedroom. He stayed in there on the computer gaming the whole
It was
time.
perfect. It's like my dream.
You had 2 bedrooms, your gaming room and your bedroom, and then I had the other room.
So it was the absolute dream.
Yeah.
I remember one night staying up on the couch until he got home because I was still I was a scaredy cat back at that point still of like not being able to sleep by myself. So I was like, when are you coming home? I'm really tired. Like stupid the shit you remember, but I remember that.
That was a lifetime ago.
A lifetime ago. We lived in our sister's apartment.
Yep.
Yeah.
Holy smokes, that was a lifetime ago.
But we were never close. Even then we weren't.
No.
Oh, we partied together. That was like our party stage. I was 18 and like you were 26, I think.
26, 27.
And then we were partying together. And it's so funny because Tanya, who I was talking about, who is my rep and one of my dear friends and works with Rich as well, we've got photos of the three of us at Melba's.
Yeah.
Jen was probably there as well.
I know, like we were talking about your 21st and I said to Richard, you and I went out after Samara's 21st to the casino. I was like, did we?
Really? It's all connected, see. We're all coming back.
Yeah. The gang is back together again.
Absolutely.
So, that's been crazy because, we didn't really have a relationship. And then we started to get close when we lived together. We got closer before you came home. We started to have more
trips, like I said.
conversations.
Each trip that Rich came back,
Yeah.
once you both had children, your relationship started to develop more. And your trip that you did to the UK.
To the UK, yeah.
Like that was a time when you guys really got to talk about things that you hadn't talked about before. Don't you love it that I talk about it like I was there? I just know because she told me when I got home.
We've spoken about it. Sam came to London for a hot minute when
it was 3 days.
One of her trips, and we had an awesome time. It was just, again, we just spent 3 days together and saw the London sites and just sort of connected.
Had some deep conversations.
Connected and had the opportunity to connect on a more personal level that we'd never really had the opportunity to. But also I was a very, again, the journey that I've been on, I'm a completely different person now than I was even back then. And just being, I used to be I used to be a closed book, and now it's like I'm an open book. I'm like I've gone the complete 180, which helps with building relationships. It helps with building something like this, right?
I remember Sarah saying that she was like, you get more out of Richard than anyone gets out.
Yeah.
Like she's like, you guys can have these, even when we hadn't seen her, these deep conversations with Rich that he wouldn't give anyone. But at that point I'd done probably 7-8 years of spiritual work.
Yeah.
So the conversations that I could have about things were opening up. And I remember that, I remember sitting in your flat and making dinner together, and Ozzy was little, and Sarah, I keep going to call her Dingo, her pet name for our family. Sarah was there, and Sarah was gone, and we started having a deep conversation about, growing up as siblings and how we saw the world differently and our parents and stuff like that. So that was a really cool moment for us also to kind of, you'd only just been home actually, and we'd had some good conversations home, and then I went to London. And then, when you came back, obviously we lived together and we became closer. But when we started this business, it was like a whole different level.
Yeah, completely different level. You're forced together to make big decisions about your futures together, your joint future. And you obviously had run Lasarella so well for such a long period of time, and I'd sort of done a few little things with the marketing stuff, but I had been always corporate side, so I'd never really built anything. So you're learning on the go, and you need to make sure that relationship is as strong as it can be. And it just sort of happened. I think one thing I realized is that, we're family, right? We're brother and sister, and we are much more alike than I ever thought we were, especially when it comes to the way we think and our values and our beliefs.
Values, I was just going to say that.
And like there'll be certain things. I remember I had a really stressful money period, and I rang Sam and said, this has happened. And she, oh my God, I'm feeling the exact same thing at the exact same time. We sort of kindred spirits a little bit like that. So we've got that base level of relationship, obviously, because we're brother and sister, but it's almost like we were at completely other opposite ends of the football field, as an analogy, right? And then every single day that we worked together, we just seemed to get closer and closer. I think we started this August last year, June, July, August last year, and it fast forwarded us into this really strong relationship. But it was a relationship. It wasn't like we had to force it.
No.
It just came naturally.
Yeah.
Because we had our very single vision in terms of what we wanted to do with this business.
It's timing, right?
It was perfect timing, and everything just lined up at the right time.
And I remember Rich being like, I've never felt passionate like this about anything else in my life.
Yeah.
Like, and he's like, and that's what I want to be doing for my life now. I want to be deeply passionate about something I do.
Yeah.
And he was like, I've never felt so passionate about something. And I was like, when you have someone who I'm a mum, I've got the kids and I've got the other business. I need people with just as much passion in this business so that when I am tapped out and I'm busy in other areas, these guys have got me and hold me completely and know that, okay, well, we've got it. Like having other people passionate in your business is massive. Yeah. For me also, having my brother in this business for me and my best friend of 20 years who I've actually already worked together with for 10 years is complete and utter safety.
Safety, for sure.
I feel so safe. I can put in such strong boundaries and I can ring Richard and be like, I'm not doing that. And Richard will be like, okay, or he'll go, okay, well, why? Let's talk through this. Yeah. But I don't ever worry that the things that I say in my I'm overwhelmed moments will ever be taken anything other than who I am, which is at the end of the day, love and kindness. But in those moments, I can just be like, do this, because I need it off my head. Hey, can you do this? And I'm not thinking, hey, please, can you do this? Or I'm not thinking, and Richard doesn't have to get micromanaged. I've got two people that don't like to be micromanaged. They don't need to be micromanaged by me because I don't need to, they do their thing and they work within the business as the business works. So for me, it's very safe in this business. I never feel unheard. I never feel unsupported. And they've completely got my back. I remember something happened and we were all of this stuff was set up to record one of our programs for online and it was all set up and ready to go. And it was the next day and I looked at Jen and Jen's like, you're not doing it. And Jen rung Rich and they were just like, it was all just cancelled within 2 seconds and no pressure and stuff because my family know and support me amazingly. And
we know when it's like Richard was today, when it's like no, you're doing it.
Richard did not want to do the podcast, but we made him.
It's not a negotiable. And you also know when it's like, we're not doing this.
Yes.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I can't. I'm tapped out. It's just a no.
I think there's been moments where I push the boundaries when I know it's right to push the boundaries, especially with Samara, right?
Yeah.
The powerhouse that she is, there is very few people who can say no.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes, there is.
But it's at the right time.
Yes.
And it's knowing the right time to push the boundary to make something happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or to say, yeah, it makes sense. Let's pause and let's do it.
Or
again.
we had an argument last week, not even an argument, a discussion where we had different views on something. And Rich was like, I understand your view, but my view is like this. And I'm like, I understand your view, but my view's like this. And then he was like, but this. And I'm like, but this. But then we came to a conclusion that was like, okay, you feel that way, I feel that way. How do we come to a conclusion? Yeah. That feels good because I'm not worried. I get off that phone call and just go about life and so does Richard. It's not, oh my God, what is he thinking right now? Oh my book, how does that work? Oh my goodness, I'm feeling nervous. I just get off the phone and go about my day because it's my brother.
Yeah, totally.
And at the end of the day.
It does help. I mean, it allows you to have I think it allows you to have deeper conversations, right?
Yeah, agreed.
We already have that relationship. There's we're not in it for individually, right?
Yeah.
We are working for this completely as a team.
And this was so when we first started the business, our goal was our children.
Yeah, 100%.
Like we said, why do we want to do this? And the goal was to give the children the life that we want to give them in a way that means that we're super present parents.
Yep.
And we wanted to give back so that others could have the same experience as us. We wanted to give other business owners what we want to give ourselves.
The important thing is like you want your children to have this life that you envision for them, but you also don't want it to be at the cost of losing the own spark that you have.
Yes.
Like there needs to be some sense of fulfillment.
Yes.
That comes externally to your children.
Yes.
So
100%.
Yeah.
And to follow that passion however that looks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I knew that so we've spoken about it like a little bit ago, but I knew that this was going to be something quite exciting because I could see the passion that Samara had for this sort of work and working with people and building a community because that's what she's all about and that's what she's excellent at. So I knew that building this business the way we've built it and working with the people that we've been lucky enough to work with and to see the growth of those people, it's so rewarding. So much so that, I think we've achieved more than I ever thought we would in such a short period of time.
Yeah.
And I just know that we're only just starting out. Like there's so much more we can do. And there's so much more we can support and grow and build community. And I think it allows us to work with people and change their lives too.
Yeah.
And
that's what it's
we
all
are,
about.
you know, that's at the end of the day, like we're changing people's lives for the better. And we haven't had a bad experience so far with anyone.
Yeah.
And I think that's a testament to like the amazing work that Sam does, but also that it's the right time.
Yeah.
And it's we're doing the right thing. We're in the right place at the right time. And I can be present with the boys. I've got an electric bike down, and we got an electric bike and a buggy down at home, and I ride the boys to school in the morning and pick them up, and there's no, I've got to get back to do this meeting, or what's my boss going to say? Like, it allows us to have that flexibility to be present and to go and do OzTag, or to go do soccer, or to go to the beach in the afternoon and not have to worry about, you know, clocking in and clocking out. So that's amazing. Like that, it's almost, that is more important than, you know, for me personally, more than anything. So
yeah, agreed.
That has been,
and we
really
want that
rewarding
for our clients. So for us, it's not like these are your numbers. Like we're so focused on
what do you want the numbers to bring you?
The life, you know, the person behind the business. Even we've got a, you know, Rich has got something planned coming up, and it's all about wellness, and, you know, the same thing. We want to run the company the same way as what we want to be able to support other owners in as well. Yeah. How do we continue to develop ourselves as people so we can help others develop themselves into a life that they're desperate for as well?
Have you done your questionnaire
Sure
yet?
have.
What's your strongest trait?
Kindness.
Mine's humour.
Of course it is. What's yours?
honesty.
Oh, love that. Kindness, humour and honesty. What a match.
What a team.
What a team.
I said to Rich, luckily I'm hilarious.
You didn't tell me a joke though. I sent you a message back saying, "Tell me a joke."
No, you can't just turn
not
that shit
that
on.
type of
It's not
humour.
It's not authentic that way.
Fine.
I love
You're
that.
You're not going to do You're not going to be our stand-up.
We're
at our
having
event.
kind, honest, hilarious conversations.
Yeah.
Always.
But yeah, I just think that business built on those foundations is so important. I remember we sat down one day and we were doing we were like, let's dream. Like, what's this business look like? And in, like, we just went stupid and we left that
yacht.
Remember we left that day and we were like, okay, we didn't do anything of what we needed to achieve.
We basically went right to the end goal, like in 5 years' time.
25 years' time.
What about the rest in between? We haven't done that yet.
And we were like, I said to him, you know what my ultimate goal would be is to make enough money that we could take our parents to Europe and our parents and our family to Europe and be able to go on like one of those. My girlfriend had just gotten back from being on this stupid boat and, you know, in
super yacht.
Yeah.
Oh, it
was insane.
Ridiculous.
And I was like, let's do that. Just for everyone aware, this is like a long time away. Salon Rising. It's
no super yacht Christmas party.
We will be going.
We're gonna go on a dinghy in like Southport Harbour or something.
Yeah.
Southport.
Yeah.
I'll take it though.
But it was not about the money. It was about
the experience.
If we could give an ultimate experience to our families, what would it be? And it would be Richard, like it would be our families. Our family is very close. But I never should have told Dad that because now Dad's like, yeah.
When are we going?
When do we go? I was like, Dad, like, he's like, let's go next year. I'm like, the business is not paying for it if we go next year.
No. We
Like,
got a while yet. Baby steps.
And he was like, oh, but I really want to go. And I'm like, he's like, I'm getting my passport ready. So everyone, Grandpa's dreaming big. Dad is already on.
At least he's
on the manifest
prepared,
train.
though.
He's on the manifest train.
Yeah.
We've got it's always important to have those goals. We haven't done our mid goals yet.
No,
still
mid.
Low goals.
They're like goals of like Richard and I are probably going to be like 70 retired and we'll be able to take him and I to Europe.
We'll be old by then.
But, you know, it's just stupid shit you think of and you dream of when you do your business, right? It's like, you know, one day I want to be able to take my family and go to Europe and, you know, maybe the podcast goes to Europe. That's how we get there.
Bingo.
Yeah. Salon Rising on tour.
We already said that when Emily was here. I was like, can I?
We really
I was like, can I come to
that.
Dubai? And then Richard's like, well, I need to come to Dubai. And then Jen was like, well, it's Salon Rising, so here we go.
Yeah, we'll have to film a podcast there, obviously.
Salon Rising on tour.
We need to speak to Paris at Benefit Accounting about that.
Yeah.
Our accountant. Are we allowed to do this?
Of course we are.
So it's very cool because obviously this has all happened very organically. I love that people are going to know what our backstory is of how we run. But you know, Rich and I still talk all the time, but one of the special things about this is we still like have a really close relationship outside of this.
Yep.
So I'm actually going to Richard's house next weekend. I'm going to spend the weekend down there for the weekend. Rich is like, when are you going to come down and stay with us? Like, so our families are still very like, so, and when Rich and I are together, it's just like, I don't know. It's just Rich came up through the holidays and just hung out with me for the day with the boys, with my nephews and my kids, and they're all crazy. And, you know, I went and did groceries and he watched the kids and then we played in the pool and he left and I was just, my cup was so full. So it's not just the relationship, I guess, that we have within the business. And it's the same with Jen. Jen's my best friend. So it's not just the relationship we have in the business. It's the fact that we have these like amazing relationships personally as well that make our business even more special, because behind the business is 3 passionate, caring, loving, considerate humans that just want to make a difference.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I said at I'll say the story when we had our first birthday dinner.
Before you say that, I'm actually going to say the coolest thing about that was I said to you, we were talking about dinner and I said to you, all right, we can do one of 2 things. We do the dinner because we talked about the dinner.
Yeah.
Or we can just spend a couple of $1,000s on ourselves. And Richard said to me, no, we spend it on our people.
Yeah, totally. It was such an amazing experience.
Yeah.
And
He said no. And I was like, there's not many people would say, oh, I could spend $1,000 or $2,000 on myself. Richard's like, no, we spend it on, I want to spend it on our people. It was like not even a thought in his mind.
well, with this, like, we're nothing without the people that we work with.
Yeah.
Exactly right.
And we've got that's our lifeblood. They make the difference, and it's amazing to be able to work alongside them and to see their growth. But also, if we can give back, absolutely, I want to give back. And we had that amazing experience, and we were doing the round table around the room. You know, what's the best thing you experienced in the last 12 months? And it got to me, and mine was like the relationship I've been able to build with Samara, because it's been such an amazing journey over the last 12 months, and we're so close now, way closer than we ever have been, and our families are closer, and this is why this is important for me, because you know, we get to build and we get to work together and we get to build a strong relationship. Our families have a strong relationship, and this is now forever. And you know, we've been able to grow as people together as well. And every day we learn something different, and every day we can support each other in a different way, which is so amazing. And it allows us to grow as humans and to see different perspective on things. And I'd like to think that there's been decisions over the last sort of 12 months that wouldn't have happened if I wasn't here. And I know there's decisions that would have happened if Samara hadn't made the decision. Do you know what I mean? So like, we work so well as a team like that, with very different perspectives on and backgrounds, which is important. And so that coming together, you've got something that really, really works.
You're the cutest. He actually said, she's my best friend. That's what he actually said.
She's my best friend.
She's my best friend. She's my best friend. Samara's my best friend. And every single woman at that table melted.
Yeah. You know, it's the truth.
But it was very cool that night to show, like, Rich obviously has been so involved in this business and he sees it all, and I ring him and Jen after every like massive success we have. I'm like, oh my goodness, like they did this and they did this. But sitting at that table that night
and hearing those people talk about
them talk about what they have achieved and how proud they are of themselves. Richard was like, that was so magical. Like, he's like, I hear it, but I've never seen it like this, and I don't actually know what to say. I'm in awe.
I think the
also, it was very funny whenever all the women were talking about Brazilians. You could tell Richard was like, I need to escape more than anyone in my entire life.
I mean, I had 2 sisters growing up, and it is what it is. It was an amazing experience, and something that is high on our list to build in the next 12 months. Yeah. It's like, how do we develop that community aspect so much more than we have it now? Because it is the one thing that I feel like we do differently to anyone else.
Agreed.
And it's building community, it's building relationships, it's fostering relationships between the 3 of us, but then with all of the people that we work with. it's definitely high on the list of things to do for the next little bit. And,
for me, I know that, and it's something that has become so important lately and always has been, I think I am who I am and where I am because of who I surround myself with.
That's what they say.
And they say, you become a product of the people you surround yourself with. And I surround myself with such incredible humans that I just feel that they keep coming into our lives through Salon Rising.
Yeah.
These incredible humans keep finding us, and we feel so honored and blessed to work with everyone that is trusting us to support them through their journey. And I just think how can everything that we do is focused on how we can have you walk away and think, God, my cup is so full.
Yep.
Because for me, that dinner, every time I spend time with those people, I want, anyone that I spend my time with, that I choose to spend one precious life with, I want to walk away going,
yeah,
my cup is so full that I feel like the best version of myself. And that dinner was like that. It was like everyone walked away just like overflowing and just joyous, and such a cupful moment that we want to keep developing that as hard as we can in Salon Rising. It's so important for us. Yeah. And, things like retreats and stuff where we can make you feel seen and heard and loved and appreciated. And, I think, and all of those things is where this business is going, and what we will keep trying to develop, on a scale, because, we never want to be, we actually never really want to be the yacht company. We talk about this dream of taking our family to Europe and going on a yacht. It won't even be like that. It'll be us going on a holiday and renting some big, beautiful house somewhere with all our family and spending time just together. Like that is our whole purpose, is how can we be together and how can we give our kids this beautiful experience of life based off us having a passion project. How can we do that? And that's what it'll end up being, because it's the same way for us. We just want to keep doing the same thing for our clients, that we develop them in a way that feels like supported and loving. And our business is always going to be small because of that reason. Not small in the matter of fact, but it's intimate, and the reason why we want the intimacy
is for the connection. And we know how important that is, and you guys know how important that is.
Totally.
As artists,
we always said we never wanted to be that cookie cutter company.
Never.
With our programs and our mentoring, it's that connection piece that sets us apart. It's why you do what you do, and it's why we've seen such growth and from our clients. It's because the connection piece is so strong, and they feel seen and they feel heard. And they feel like they've got a partner in crime that can help them through anything.
Yeah. And it's also knowing, we've said this over and over again, having somebody that's actually in the thick of things. Yeah. At the same time, even today in our call, I showed them. I opened up my program and literally it was screen recording. So they saw, I couldn't hide anything. I can't hide anything. So I brought all my reports up, and I brought what my week looks like this week. And, one of the women when we finished was like, thank you so much for trusting us enough just to show us the inside of things. Yeah. But I'm doing it in real time. And I also said to them, this is my plan for the week. I'm going to show you how I execute it. And then next week you can see how it went. Yeah. And that's really powerful too, knowing that a salon owner is doing the things that she's teaching behind the scenes so that you guys feel seen, rather than me telling you what to do even though I'm not doing it, and that's the connection with it as well. Yep. That's Salon Rising.
Bingo.
Bingo.
So I know that you really didn't want to come on the podcast, so I'm very, very proud of you for coming on the podcast.
I'm so proud of you. Well done. And you said you weren't going to talk, and you talked heaps.
Well, yeah. When you're in the limelight, you may as well take the opportunity to talk a little bit. I always said I didn't want to do the podcast. I knew that I was always going to have to at some point. But I love being behind the scenes and making stuff work. And I think it's in my human design, or it's definitely part of me. It's just I like that side of things. I like things just working, and then people going, hey, cool, it worked. And I don't have to be the star of the show. It wouldn't work if there was 2 stars of the show.
Richard doesn't need the recognition. Samara does.
Exactly. So I'm very happy to be behind the scenes and allowing the star to shine as brightly as she does.
But I think it was really important for you to come on so that people still know that there is all this stuff happening in the background.
I'm here, and I'm always in the background. All of this doesn't get set up without me.
Yeah. The podcast doesn't do without you. Jen and I walk in and we sparkle.
Yeah.
That's
then we go.
important. It's
And
sparkle
Rich
away.
handles everything else from there.
I'll sparkle behind the scenes.
But yeah, he's also available for our clients in a way that no one else is because of the fact that he isn't an artist in this industry. He has different knowledge, which is way more powerful for us in our business than ever because he has all this knowledge that I don't know. So often he's helped our clients with things that I'm like, hey, do you reckon you could do this? Or, you know, and he has such a different idea and spin on things that also need to happen. Otherwise we wouldn't be able to develop what we develop.
Agree.
Thank you, brother.
Thanks for having me on.
You did very good.
Thanks for having me on.
Thanks for joining us at Salon Rising.
No worries.
If anyone has any questions, obviously, so on the Salon Rising Instagram, it's me, Jen, and Rich.
Yeah.
So if ever you have any questions regarding anything, you hear what our roles are, you can just write our names at the top and then be like, I have a question for you, and feel free to ask away. Feel free to tell Rich how great he is because he's so great. And everybody that works with us in Salon Rising just loves Rich. They're like, I just love Rich. Just love Rich. He's so great. Love Rich. I can hear Sherelle saying that as I say it.
Sherelle and I have worked together quite a bit.
Love Rich. But thank you everybody for listening.
Thanks so much, guys.
And we will see you next time.
See you soon.
Bye.
Kevin Murphy, distributed by Osdare, transforming the hairdressing industry whilst being kind to the environment. For me, as a business owner, one of the most important things is finding companies and brands that completely align with our ethos and our values. Kevin Murphy and Osdare is this for us. We are so excited to be partnering with such an incredible brand within our Salon Rising and La Sorella family.